WNT is the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news. This is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of ParksCenter. Joining me on tonight's show, we've got Allison.
Hello, everyone.
Jill.
Hello, welcome to the deep.
Hey, we've got Rob.
What's up?
And Pete.
Si va co, everyone! It's a beautiful Wednesday evening.
It certainly is. Good grief, I can't follow that up. That was so good. Why am I running this show? All right, tonight's first topic, and this is going to be a bit of a doozy. Bombardier claims that there is a new monorail order that could be for Walt Disney World, although we do not know for certain yet. This is something that's been tossed around a couple times. We reported back in April of 2018 that internal sources said that a new fleet was being ordered. We've also found some internal finance paperwork that indicates that there is an undisclosed project in North America that is currently being worked on. So signs are pretty strong that this certainly could be Disney World. I don't know where else it could be, really, other than some city. If they're doing this, they haven't announced it yet. So really the only people who would want to keep this quiet would be Disney or someone similar, wouldn't it?
I didn't want to tell the neighborhood,
right.
But I was tired of waiting in traffic to go to work. So it's very hush-hush at the moment. I have a few investors. No, this has got to be Disney. The only other thing I could see is, and this is like complete blue sky and totally wrong, would be, Universal announced their new park. So unless they want to directly steal monorails from Disney and they place this order and say, hey, we're going to do them better, look at this, which I can't see them doing. I would do something innovative if I was them. It's got to be Disney. It's due. It's way overdue. It's they've tried these refurbishments, and clearly people know that there's still problems. There's still delays. So yeah, I mean, all signs point to Walt Disney World.
It's definitely not Universal. That's definitely not the case, because it wouldn't be this cost. Like, this is almost the exact, to the dollar figure that it would be to replace the Walt Disney World monorails. And the scale of a place like Universal is just not as large. And I can't imagine any city now shouting it from the rooftops that they're investing in monorail mass transit.
Great point.
It's gotta be Disney.
Well, and here's the other thing. Bombardier makes the trains. Bombardier doesn't do the tracks. And so we know a monorail order like this is going to take around 2 years, maybe 3. Any new monorail installation, in order to be ready to use those trains in 2 to 3 years, would have needed to start building a track by now. If this is a new installation, it can't be Universal, because Universal would have had to start building that track. So it has to be a replacement fleet for an existing monorail track, or we would have heard about it and we would have seen construction starting somewhere to build the track.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't even make sense, even if it was some construction that wasn't going to start until a few months from now. There's no reason that the order would be placed at this point. If this was for some new rail, you'd wait until after the rail had already been constructed somewhat. You don't want to have them make these and then charge you storage fees while you're not ready to have them yet. That's just a waste of money.
And also, if it was a city, this would have needed to go through city government. This would have needed to get approvals, and it would have been all over the news if somebody was talking about if any city in the U.S. was talking about doing this, it would have been all over the news, because they would have had to get permits and ordinances, and it would have had to get voted on in city council and all of that. So there's no way this could be something like that.
No one knows about Carneyville yet. No one knows about it, except for my newly elected mayor, Mr. Rob Whiteside. Do you want to take it away, Rob?
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Pete is interested in putting a monorail system into his backyard all the way to Disney World and then back to the WDWNT studios so that he can drink on the way to and from both locations. So we're going to put that ordinance into place immediately. And if anybody has a problem with it, they can just suck it. Or,
All right.
That was so well done.
Pete,
That's
it's
my
Pete
mayor.
Carney's
That's my mayor.
Railway.
That's my mayor right there. That's why he was appointed.
we get stuff done, man. That's how we do.
Wow.
I
You're the
mean,
best.
Oh my gosh.
I don't, here's my big problem is that they announced like 3 or 4 years ago that there was going to be this big Main Street theater that nobody knew was happening and what was going to be in it. And I thought it was a great idea and they got my hopes up about it and they took it away. And what I heard at the time was they took it away because they rerouted the money to buy this great new monorail system that we haven't seen yet. So while I do think that Universal is going to have a problem getting people from their hotels to their new park and back, I think that that would be a great idea for them to do this and steal the thunder from Disney. I really think that if it's not Disney, it's going to be the most disappointing thing ever. It's almost going to be like waking up on Christmas and thinking you're going to get a brand new iPhone and getting a BlackBerry.
The one thing that I think I have to say, though, that for why this could possibly not be Disney is why did they put all the effort into cleaning up and reskinning the interior of those monorails if new ones are coming so soon?
2 years, though?
Do you think?
I mean,
yeah, it's good. 2 years is a long time, and there are monorails that really need to work. That's like being like, we're gonna do new tile in New York City subway, so we're gonna leave this tile for 2 years with the P and the stickers on it. It's like, no, you still got to make it look pretty. And I mean, like those monorails were like, you're talking, there's temperature like changes, especially, right now we've seen it in Orlando. If anyone's been here or read anything, it's been cold the last 4 days, cold. But again, like you don't want that mildewy smell for 2 more years. So they needed upgrading. Why not take some of the worst ones and upgrade them just to make it look decent for 2 years?
Because money. Like, why spend that money? When we
yeah, but I'm betting it didn't cost them that much more to put some paint over top of it. I mean, I used to work in grocery. I used to work for A&P food stores, and there was a time, hopefully nobody that ever worked for A&P is listening, but there was a time where they would go into a store and give it a new name and put a fresh coat of paint on it rather than build a new one because a new one cost too much money. But there were plans to build a new one, but not for years. So I definitely think that just like the effort of putting that in there, especially when like consumer confidence has got to be pretty low in the monorails. As many things that have fallen off of them, as many crashes as there have been. I mean, the Skyliner only had to have one incident for us to call it a failure. So I think that if the monorails had like 18, they definitely want to do something to show that they're making some effort to make them, better and brighter and all that.
Well, to be fair, that one failure was within the first week of the system.
So as a tech guy, Ben, when do your failures first happen? Like after the system's been up for 6 months, or right at the beginning? It first
starts, but
also let's keep in mind people have died on the monorail system, passed away, and it still runs. Like, so you can't really use that as an argument.
Speaking of things that still continue to move those gondolas, so there is a decent chance. Or at least I think there's a decent chance that we are going to be seeing some new gondolas in the somewhat near future. So the manufacturer of the Skyliner gondolas has debuted a new design at IAAPA this year, which looks very similar to the old ones in some ways, which is kind of a good thing, honestly, because that means that these gondolas will still fit into the older and existing systems that Disney has. It's weird to think about the Skyliner as older, but you get those nice seats in there instead of that weird wooden bench thing. You get individual seats with backs, and honestly, it just looks a lot nicer than what we've got. And given all of the complaints people made about the AC systems, maybe they would also be able to sneak that in here too? Or is that just asking for too much?
They look sleeker, but then you also lose the nostalgia of being reminiscent of the Skyway. And I think if they're going to do this, what they really should do is make the floor glass as well, so people can look directly down.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
I was going to say, as scared as Jill was the last time.
Right? Pete was no. As scary as this was for me to ride on the first time, as soon as I saw these cars, like I saw these pictures when they were coming in from the show, I was like, oh my God, wait, that is now like all transparent glass. So instead of at least having some level of feeling like I am shielded from plummeting to my death by like the outside colored part of the Skyliner card, now it's no. I can't. No, Allison, that you just described my like worst nightmare.
That's the reason they wouldn't do this, is I think that people like me would love it, but most people would be deathly afraid of looking down at nothing. They need that sense of, this is a floor I can stand on. This is a solid unit. I know, speaking personally, my girlfriend would lose her mind if the floor was like that. Plus, I'm the guy who, especially when we're alone, likes to stand up and do a dance, so we swing a little bit, and she gets freaked out. So you don't want that. You don't want to ride with me where I'm like, let's rock the boat. Let's rock the boat, baby. We also don't know. So I'm gonna play. Yeah, don't tip the boat over. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Keep in mind. So I was one of the people at IAPA who took some of these photos and was there in this area and section. This does not necessarily mean we're getting those exact gondolas. This is them as their booth in an industry for all the theme parks globally to show off what they're doing. So I don't think this means this is what Disney's getting, per se. This is what they can do. They're showing off their best models. So I don't think we should get too excited too fast. Disney's just opened this system. They took years to pick which gondolas they wanted, what they were going to do with them, how were they going to wrap them, the speed they were going to go, all the heights and whatnot. I don't see them making a change this quickly because we saw the best of the best from the booth who is paying thousands and thousands of dollars in a premium location at this show to show off the best they can do. So I wouldn't get too crazy too fast. It's a fun story, and a lot of what we talk about happens, but this is a very blue sky to me.
On the other hand, we do know they need to. I was going to say, we do know that they need to replace at least a couple of the cars that they already own.
Well, for sure. But if you don't want to, imagine they replace the 4 cars that got smashed with like these nice tables or nice chairs or air conditioning. It's like, why are those 4 different? Are those the VIP cars? Like, what's that?
No, so I mean, I feel like you guys think I'm some sort of like a Skyliner fanboy, and I'm not. But but when they put these up, I mean, like, I don't think they're going to replace it just really quick. Just I think the issue that we had was with the station and not with the cars. So I think if they were going to buy the nicer cars, there were air conditioned units available when they bought these, so they could have done that then. That's it.
Well, speaking of air conditioning, let's go somewhere that really doesn't need much of one. Blizzard Beach. Looks like there might be some action coming to Blizzard Beach relatively soon. So, Pete, you mentioned you were at IAPA. You saw this firsthand. What's the details with this?
All right. So while Nathan, so it's no big secret. If you watch Walt Disney World News tomorrow, WWNT, you'll see me and Nathan both took a trip to IAPA yesterday. I was there again today. But if you look, this is a great spot to stop on. You'll see it says Disney's Blizzard Beach on the left column towards the bottom. This is the sign I saw. So Nathan was taking all these beautiful photos. If you want some behind-the-scenes info, we took photos, and they were like, we need more photos for this story. So we had to take more. But I'm looking at all this stuff, and I saw a Disney, there it is, sign on a different exhibit from ProSlide. So I said, let me just do a little investigating, or I would just love to see an old model and what it grew into. I saw this, and it said, we'd like to thank our future projects in 2019, 2020, and 2021. You can see it right there perfectly. Thanks, Ben. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, well, Blizzard Beach went down for refurbishment in September, and it's one of the longer refurbishments. Typically, they need 2 or 3 months. And this is from September, not until 2020 that it's not reopening. Also, Blizzard hasn't gotten a new ride in, I think, around 25 years. They did some refurbs and some cleaning up and this and that, but not a new attraction. So when I saw this, my WWNT antennas went up and said, something's going on here. Pulled Nathan over when he's taking photos and said, hey, look at this. What do you think about this? Blizzard Beach is listed as an upcoming project. This is a long refurbishment. This is something. He, takes pictures, sends it to everybody else. A story is run by us. Other companies obviously read our site. went and did other bigger stories, try and find people. We also do things by the book, whether people think that or not. So we went up and said, hey, do you have anything you'd like to say on the record? And of course, when you say the words on the record, it's like putting the lights on in your Brooklyn apartment. Things just, people scatter. It was like, you have to talk to Jim. Oh, Jim says you have to talk to Gabe. Gabe says you have to talk to Mike. Mike says Pete's in a meeting, and then you never get anywhere. And that's kind of what happened to us, is that we asked for something on the record because we wanted it to be, 100% true and there for you guys. But anyway, that never happened. Make a long story short, all these other companies read our article, which were just said, hey, we think something's happening. Look at this. And today I went back, and you'll see the story if it hasn't run yet. Blizzard Beach is covered up today. It just has Pro Slide logos over the name. I'm sure Disney heard about it and got back to them. It was like, hey, we haven't announced anything yet. You're blowing up our spot. And now it's completely covered up. There is no more mention at Blizzard Beach being a client or a future project. There's no Disney logo. They are not happy. When I went back today and asked about it, I was very much shut down. So apparently we stumbled onto something. So this is exciting. Blizzard Beach hasn't got a new attraction in over 20 years. So this is exciting.
Yeah.
They need to have followed Bombardier's example and said undisclosed North America. That's clearly the only thing that Disney finds acceptable in doing business with outside vendors.
Which is what a lot of companies did. Today I talked to several companies about upcoming projects, and they said, oh, yeah, there's this crazy blogging site and news site that has nailed a lot of the details about this North American project we're working on. And I won't say who today, but I said, oh, does that happen to do with the... He goes, it's the biggest indoor project in a very long time. I said, is that the largest concrete pour in North America? He goes, it seems like you know a lot about this project. You should read that site. So like they know. And another guy I was talking to about Disneyland Paris event said to me too, he's like, I haven't said anything that I didn't sign in my NDA. So that's all I can say. Like, so they're very, very careful. And it's so funny because they're talking about Universal, and I talked to people about Universal, the new park, about the new Mario Land, and the guy who's working on Mario Kart I spoke with, and everything else. They'll talk about it in like kind of code. But when it comes to Disney, they're like, well, in my NDA, it's a North American park with a lot of money that's very private, so we can't talk about it. And like that's all they could say. I mean, it's like basically saying that's Disney. So it was a very cool experience, and I took up the entire time. But that's the full Blizzard Beach story. So that's exciting stuff.
What a story that is! I personally can't wait to hear more about some of like the other stuff. You mentioned some Universal stuff you picked up on. I am looking.
That's what we took on the post show for all the
Universal Center in the post show, folks. If you stick around for that.
Yes. I got to talk with the guys who built all the stuff for Galaxy's Edge 2 and the stuff they're working on for other parks. They built the X-Wings and everything else you take pictures in front of. Lots of fun stuff I can tell you about later on.
All right. Moving on for now, though, over to Disneyland to talk about Indy for a little bit. That is going to be getting a major refurb in 2020 in prep for the 25th anniversary, which, I mean, makes sense, but this permit that's been filed with the city of Anaheim at this point sets the scope of the work as, quote, removing and replacing show set bridge to include steel structure, rockwork, and planks. Which with that bridge being the one that's tried to trick guests into thinking it's collapsing for about 24 years at this point. But is that all that's going to end up happening with this? Because this is a big refurb for a big anniversary. Is this where, like, are we going to get all of the effects working as they were on day one? Are we gonna get like little like bits of lava dripping from the ceiling like the concept had originally for this?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Okay. Wow.
No, I mean, all right, so let me just say one thing. So, like, at the D23 I went to probably 6 years ago, Kim Irvine was there, and they were saying that anytime they take an attraction down for an extended period of time, they feel like they need to make additions to it. So I feel like there will be some sort of addition to it, some sort of a change, and they've obviously tweaked this a little bit with like projection mapping with the Eyes of Mara and things like that over the years. So I do think they'll do something. I was talking about that the other day, that like whole conveyor idea that they had in the ceiling that hasn't worked since like the first week of making like ice that came across and fell down and things like that I'm not sure will come back, but I would assume that they will absolutely plus this out, and maybe if it is timed out somewhere around them working in the Indy 5, that would be a great time to kind of do some cross promotion and maybe plus it out with some stuff from that.
I didn't think about the fact that they've got another Indiana Jones movie in the works. Like, that just makes perfect sense to fit in here. Like, that's probably the bulk of the work. Huh.
But it's a great ride. I mean,
too much. Please don't mess with it too much. Whatever you do, I first of all, I can't believe it's almost 25 years old, because I remember like Walt Disney World or Disney World Inside Out. No, it wasn't Disney World, but on those like shows on the Disney Channel, whatever they called them, they would give you like previews about the rides that were happening. And I remember being a kid and watching when they're like, oh, this is opening in Disneyland, it's amazing. And I didn't get to ride it until like 3 years ago. And when I went on it, I was like, oh, this is, first, the queue is amazing, the ride itself is amazing, and it really is in good shape considering it's a quarter of a century old almost. So because it's so good, please don't mess with it. Don't start putting in some like stuff from a new movie that you're trying to reboot the series, and it's never going to live up to the movies that were in existence in the 80s. So please don't mess with it. So good. It's almost perfect.
Oh, you don't want them to put crystal skulls everywhere in there? Like, you don't want them to retheme it to that?
No.
That's a little too soon, Ben.
I don't want.
That's a little too soon.
When is it going to be too? No, oh my gosh. That movie's
It's
I don't
never
want to
not
be
going
Shia
to be too
LaBeouf.
soon.
Did someone say Crystal Skull vodka? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead,
gosh,
Joe.
there's a whole story about that, but
So, you know what? I
Yeah.
mean, I've thought, when you see this attraction and you see Dinosaur, obviously it's the same show set, like the same track. I've always loved Dinosaur until I saw this attraction, and then I was like, Dinosaur should be better. It is beginning to end. There's something everywhere. So I'm not really sure where they would plus stuff out, but I also think that if they were to change it too much, hopefully that will make things easier on Alice. And if they were make too many changes, they'd really have to change the whole thing, because it is a very specific story of the adventure that you're going on. I just think it would be neat if they added some new effects and maybe, a couple like nods to maybe some more of the movies or things like that you could enjoy when you went through there. But I mean, from the music to the pacing to like, the fire effects and everything, it is a really cool attraction. I mean, I would definitely make this like top 10 like Disney attractions for me of all time, because it's a long ride. It's got animatronics. It's just really well done. So I'm hoping that they add something really cool to it for taking it down for this long. But I would also think that anybody who goes to Disneyland is going to be pretty sad to see this down for so long.
oh, for sure. How many Disney rides are there that have fire effects, by the way? Because I don't. I mean, there are shows
lot.
that have them for sure, but how many rides? Is it that big? Because I'm struggling to think of any.
Now that Catastrophe Canyon doesn't exist anymore, it's a lot harder to.
Yeah,
Give
I mean,
me a
that's a good
second. This
point.
is a trivia question.
Well, Pirates doesn't have a real fire, so it can't be that one. I'm not sure.
What?
Oh,
And no more great movie rides.
Sorry, Mr. Carney.
Oh yeah, no more.
No, that's true.
Because that used to be there too. That's like it used to be a studios thing, and then studios stopped.
The Indiana Jones Stunt Show still has fire.
Yeah, but that's a show. I'm getting at this. This is one of a dying breed of attractions that actually have fire effects in Disney parks. Tokyo Disney Sea Journey to the Center of the Earth in chat. I'm seeing, and like, yeah, that works. But again, that's
what
a
else?
land company. So I suspect that's that's.
You know what else used to have a lot of fire?
Oh, what?
Illuminations.
Oh man, that.
Sorry.
Well, there's some unintentional fire in Epcot Forever when the kites catch on fire.
Oh gosh.
They're gonna send Pete into an Epcot Forever raid.
Speaking of unintentional fire, the garbage fire that is the NBA experience.
No, I'm the opposite on this.
All right. You're going to have a bit of an uphill climb here, although you are going to be able to get in a little bit easier now. The popular 4-park Magic ticket has returned to Walt Disney World and now offers free admission to the NBA experience with the purchase of the Water Park and More add-on. So they're struggling to get people in here. And so they're just like, can we, if you pay a little bit more for the water parks, we'll give you this for free too, because we need it. Please make bodies go in the door so people think it's actually good.
Hey, Ben, before Pete goes off, you better start the timer.
Oh, oop, my goodness, thank you for that.
First of all, I did not talk at all during Indy because I realized I talked a lot during the other stories. So I am working on myself, and I want everyone to know that. Anyway.
Bless you, sir.
No, this is not the same old NBA experience. I would agree. So I went and didn't speak for the first time because they offered annual pass holders a huge discount. It's something like $37 with tax. Or it was like 35 plus tax, and this one was like 19 plus tax. So it was $20. And I went with a buddy of mine from New York, and he was down, and I always wanted to just with somebody who cared about the NBA as much as me. This might surprise people, but a lot of my Walt Disney World friends don't care about dunking and dribbling as much as I do. So we had a ball. This was amazing. I had the best time for $20. I would spend $20 on this all day, every day. First of all, it's great cardio. It's better than going to a gym. You get to have unlimited time dunking. There's like 14 experiences, and you get to go all day. So you can go. We left, had beers, came back, and did more that night for the same $20. It's the whole day. And if you're with a pass holder, everyone gets the same price as the pass holder for $20. It all goes to your Disney PhotoPass account. So all my dunk pictures, my shooting pictures, me schooling up my friends and all the events, the photo ops with the trophies. For $20, this is a steal. For $35, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch. And it's so funny because it's only $15. But like for us, we had a threshold of like, we'll do anything for $20. But once you go over $20, it's like we have to think about it. I would rather do this for $20 than the Void, which is way more expensive to do again. It's a cool original experience the first time. This, I feel like, has more repeatability. You want to bring friends to it. It's a ton of fun for the whole family because there's events you can do. You could lower the rim for the dunking contest to any height you want. There's the you could read our review, which wasn't favorable, but imagine it for $20, and they weren't NBA fans. I don't mean to go against WWNT tonight. I'm just saying the review was not favorable, but no one who did that review was an NBA fan. I love the NBA. I love basketball. It's a fun family event. $20 is the perfect price point. I could see this being popular now, and I'll go from there. That's it.
That's fair.
But Pete, where else than the Void can we shoot Tom in the face with milkshakes? You can't.
I know, but if you're not able to get Tom with you,
again.
I would have paid way more. But how often can you get Tom with you? You're gonna have to like pay extra to have Tom with you. Shooting Tom in the face with milkshakes is a priceless experience.
Moment.
Like, forget about it.
That's fair.
It's priceless.
So, Pete, was it crowded
That's a good
when you were
question.
there? Were there a lot of people doing it?
No, and we went on I think it was a Friday or a Saturday. I don't think it really hit news that AP is at a discount. Every station has its own individual lines. You can also pick and choose. Like if that has like 12 people waiting, you can go to a different event. You can go do this. You can do that. Everything's individual stations. Some stuff never had a line. Like no one wanted to be a referee and make the right call, but we did that a few times. Like why not? Some stations have enough room for 17 people. Some have enough room for 3. So you can kind of pick and choose. And again, it's for all day. So even if you went in and there was big lines at the time you went, you can go back later on that day and scan in with your Magic Band.
Cool.
That's really cool. I honestly didn't know the part about being able to come back again later. That makes it a bit more appealing to me personally.
Oh, I got my cardio. I had to go change my clothes. I was sweating.
Yeah,
it was like a gym workout for sure.
I mean, considering you can do half the things at a gym,
Oh, it was more fun because you don't realize, like, I burned calories for sure. And then
Ben has so much haterade tonight. What is going on, man?
I know.
It is cheaper than a boutique exercise class, though. $20.
Fair enough.
It's cheaper than a
$20,
Soul Cycle or yoga class. Like
my legs still hurt from that day. Like I'm still in pain.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed this experience that hurt you.
Thank you. It was all worth it.
No, I get it.
No pain, no gain.
It actually does seem kind of cool, and for $20, I'm honestly considering checking it out next time I'm down there. And if you folks want to
Come
make a
with
trip
me.
down there to check it out for yourselves, why don't you contact Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel partner of WDWNT. Never Grow Up Vacations is an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients. And with over 20 years of experience booking Disney vacations, we're sure they can help you make your next trip even more magical. So head on over to WDWNT.travel to contact them about your next trip today. Thank you, folks, for joining us, as always. If you're looking for more live stuff, we've got News Tonight coming tomorrow night at 9 p.m. You can check out Pete and Nathan going to IAPA, along with a whole bunch of other wonderful, wonderful bits in that show. Again, that's live Thursday nights at 9 p.m. We're live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. if you're not watching this live with us now. Highly recommend you check us out over at youtube.com/WDWNT, where you can subscribe and hit the bell to get notified every time we go live. We will not be back next week, unfortunately. We will be back, well, I guess technically next week. We're going to be back on Saturday, currently, during the Toys for Tots marathon show that we do every year. Time and date is subject to change at this point. The schedule will be coming out sometime probably in the next week or so. But we will not be on Wednesday. We will be sometime between Friday and Sunday next week. So we look forward to seeing you all then for that. If you are one of our WIGS members, do stay tuned because we do have a post show tonight, as we alluded to earlier. If you're not already, you can become a member of WDWNT Interglobe Society, or WIGS for short, by heading over to patreon.com/WDWNT. And for as little as $2 a month, you can get access to our post show, the post show for News Tonight, and a whole host of other benefits. So I recommend, if you haven't yet, check that out at patreon.com/WDWNT. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show, folks. We will see you in the post show if you're sticking around. Otherwise, we will see you all late next week.
Sivako! Bibbidi bobbidi boop, bop, beep, boop.